Alright, so Rise Crossroads had a pretty beefy update, and with it came world bosses, key dungeons, index systems, and a bunch of other things. So in today's video, we're going to go ahead and check out the entire update log. Alright, so first we're going to go ahead and go over the small stuff. So they fixed a bunch of bugs that were with the sword enchants. They also added a new dungeon map called Orc Lair at Hunter City, and they also added a auto destroy system for swords. So if we go to the index on the top right, you go to weapons, and then you can do auto destroy and just select whatever you want to automatically destroy. Then some smaller stuff they added was to the guild. So now if you go to the upgrades, guild max players is now 90, so you can upgrade the players up to 90 players total. They also made the shadow slot 4 upgrade cheaper. It was like 730 SP, now it's only like 275, so that's significantly better. They also made it so the max level at the bottom now is 250 and the max stat level is 165, which will be really good for shadow power, agility, and reach. And lastly, they also made it so you can craft N rank shadows that are legendary or higher. So now it's not just N rank snow, monarch, and magmas only. Now you can also get metal, Zyru, Laruda, all the legendary ones you can now upgrade from 6Gs to 1N. But now let's get into the bigger stuff. So the first thing is world bosses. So if we go to the index, every other island they said, so let's start with Leveling City, has a world event. Actually, let's go to Shadows, yeah. So, well, Leveling City has a bunch of world events, so we'll go ahead and skip that. Grassy Village has a world event. There's a legendary shadow. Brum doesn't. Face Heal does, legendary. Lucky doesn't. Nightbond does, legendary. And, wait. Yeah, it just keeps on going like that. Legendary at each one. Now, some of them have dungeons that also have a legendary character. I don't know what that's about. But it seems like every island has a world event new character or a dungeon new character. World event, dungeon. So as you guys can see, everything has. The thing that I found kind of weird was at Hunter City, the dungeon's a mythical shadow. So I'm not gonna lie, this might be the new best shadow if it's better than Monarch, Snow, and what's the other one? Magma. Now, how these world bosses work is every 30 minutes at 20 and 40, it spawns at either Grass, Face Heal, or Nightbond, and the HP scales based on the brute of the island, and it can drop dust, tickets, XP, and also a legendary shadow. Now, the rank of the shadow that you arise is going to be based off your player rank, so obviously the higher player rank you are, the better. And shadows from world bosses can rank up to an N, which is something to note. I don't know if I mentioned earlier either, they also made a few things to make the quests more convenient. So if you go to the weekly quest, I remember this, no, not this one, I don't have the quest on right now, but it was the quest for the winter raid. You had to kill like 6 high frost elves when only 5 spawned, so it was very like inconvenient because you would have to do a whole another winter raid just for 1 frost elf to complete that quest. But they made it so that at the winter raid now there's like 7 that spawn, though you still only need to kill 5 for Laruda to spawn in, which is still very nice. Now moving from that, the next big thing they added was key dungeons. So I don't really know what this is, but it said you can get them from Infernal Castle bosses. So I just did an Infernal Castle. If I go to my items, do I have any keys? I don't have any keys. I'm stacked on tickets, dust, and everything, but I don't. You have to somehow craft these keys. Where do we do that at? Now, the way you get these keys is you get the basic ones from Infernal Castle bosses, and then you can craft a dungeon key to open a dungeon, and the dungeon can support up to 10 players, but it's only 1 room, 1 boss, and the rank of the boss, like you have to try to rise them, is based off your player rank, and the bosses in those can also apparently rank up to an N, which could be the new method. Now, to be honest, you're probably not going to be able to kill these Infernal Castle bosses, well, using the dungeon keys or whatever, because it says that it supports up to 10 players. Now, that makes me think that it's going to have tons of health. Like, I'm thinking like 100 or maybe even 200 octillion, which is quite a lot if I'm being honest. Now, apparently this update was also supposed to be bigger, but since Grow Garden just updated and they said that like it was crashing Roblox Studio and everything, they only released part of this update. So the titles and quests part of this update is coming out either today or like later today or tomorrow. So I'll probably make another video on that. But titles, hopefully it's a good title, because right now there's one title that beats everything else, and that's Master. And then quests, I could use more quests because max level is 250, though it's not hard to level up anymore, considering you can just reset your weekly quests non-stop using tickets right here. But yeah, overall, I think the Infernal Castle method for the end game is still the way, because N plus crafting is not here. Monarch is still the only guy you can get N plus. You can get a bunch of other units now N, but N plus is like very hard to get, and I somehow got 3. I'm not gonna lie, this is extremely lucky on my end. But yeah, I'm gonna go and just probably keep grinding the Infernal Castle, and I'm probably gonna also hit up these world bosses and dungeon key things. So yeah, expect a more specific video on that probably soon. Overall, this update had a lot of new content and things that we can grind now, but besides that, that's basically it. Peace.